This week, we've got a very special guest in the studios with us. He is the elected Commonwealth attorney here in Jefferson County, and that's R. David Stingle. Our topic today, which concentrates on the inner workings of the Commonwealth Attorney's Office.
Tell me and tell the public, a person is arrested, they go through the police process, they're booked and released. Where do we step in and what happens next?
Well, there's two ways it gets to our office. One is through a direct indictment, which the police bring the case directly to us and ask us to review it and bypass district court. That's usually the more serious events. It could be big drug trafficking or a murder case, that sort of thing. Other than that, it goes first into district court where the county attorney takes it, and they have what's called a probable cause hearing. And if the judge finds that there is probable cause, then he sends it up to our office, sends it to circuit court.
Do justice. How do you get your prosecutors to do justice?
Well, I think you look at the elements of the offense, which are basically the law, what it says you have to prove. You see if you can prove that. If you can't prove that, you find out why. You ask the police officer, you're missing this essential bit. Where is it? If he or she doesn't come up with a good answer on that, you say, well, I'm sorry, it just doesn't cut it. We got to, we dismiss the case or we remand it back to district court as a misdemeanor if it fits some other thing like that. I think the biggest thing is holding back young, energetic prosecutors. They get in there and think, wow, I'm a prosecutor. I got a badge in my pocket. Everybody that I see is a bad person, and I'm going to put them in prison until, hell freezes over.
Wow.
So, you have to remind people that, the people you're dealing with are citizens too, and treat them fairly. That's really the nicest thing or the greatest thing about the job is it doesn't matter if we win, it's whether we do justice. So if dismissing it is the proper thing to do, that's what we do. If conviction is the proper thing, that's what we do. You have to explain that there's a difference between what actually happened and what we're able to prove. We need proof, and we need proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Motive isn't something that we have to prove, but it's something that jurors always look for. A lot of the victims of crime are also criminals. A lot of drug dealers get robbed and shot. That does not play well with jurors. There's jurors, the worst juror I guess you could have is say, well, he had it coming to him. But even the best of jurors don't see that as a vicious murder. They see it as drug dealers shooting each other. The victim or the family of a victim can never look at a case objectively because they've lost a loved one. They know this person had something to do with it, and they want vengeance, and I don't blame them at all, but that's something that we can't always deliver.
Police dramas have been a staple of television. Do you think that has an adverse effect on the job that we have to do?
They're a nightmare for prosecutors, but jurors come into that courtroom now expecting that all the things they see on television are factual. They're not. A lot of them are just simply great stories. We don't have the crime-fighting capability that they show on TV.
A lot of it is science fiction.
Exactly. That's given a lot of credit.
Why do prosecutors plea bargain murder cases?
Plea bargaining is an absolute necessity. We indict over 4,000 cases a year. There simply aren't enough hours in the day or days in the week to trial those cases. Don't go to a jury and expect justice. Jurors give verdicts. They don't necessarily give justice. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not.
Could you explain why the Commonwealth attorneys are not the family's lawyers?
Right. We do not represent, we don't even represent the victim. We represent the Commonwealth and the laws of the Commonwealth. If the law says you cannot kill a person, that's what we're enforcing is that law.
How do you deal with the publicity, the high-profile cases, the ones that end up on the front page of the newspaper or maybe even the Wall Street Journal?
Honesty is the best policy. If you try to snow somebody, they're going to get behind it and figure out what's going on. And generally an honest answer, people sense it. They can tell you're being honest, and it's worked. But we also know that the press and the public thrive on crime.
Right. I think it's hard because you have a problem with balancing what they think that you are supposed to do, what they see on television, and what they want. And a lot of times you have to be the wet blanket to tell them, this is how I evaluate the case. I've talked to other people, because a lot of times it's about conferencing the case, using all the knowledge you can. And if you come to a consensus of what a case is worth, sometimes it's very hard for victims to understand this is the best resolution.
If we bust a drug dealer and take money from him, the police get 85% of that. We get 15%.
There is a recession. We've heard about it on the news. Do you think that the stimulus money will somehow flow into Kentucky and will affect us, or will it have no effect in our specific office?
Okay. Everybody is going to have a handout. I doubt if there's going to be enough money to go around. Everybody is hurting. The city or Metro is hurting because they have a jail corrections bill that's breaking them. Mm-hmm. You see the state justice department is releasing people early in order to lighten the burden of incarceration. It costs about $27,000 a year to keep somebody incarcerated. So we've already been looking at alternatives to incarceration. We're looking at drug courts. We're looking at all sorts of things, but they're all in the same bind we are. There's not enough counselors in drug court. There's not enough probation officers to watch people on the street. It's a very, very difficult situation we're in. There's nobody we would like to beat better than a big shot defense attorney. I mean, that's what we live for.
Right.
Prosecutors are like fighter pilots. They want to go in there and mix it up. So I think the biggest thing is they need to realize that we're people too, and we care about them. I've cried over cases. I know other prosecutors have. We care about them. We care about the person they've lost. We know we have our limitations, but I think the best thing they can do is talk to us.